Five, four, three, two, one.
I'm from a place where the girls are always looking pretty. You might have heard of us, we call it Shy City. We build champions here who define gritty. We don't do excuses, we don't do pity. Rose is coming back stronger, that's a guarantee. Cutler's coming back too, he's beastly. Throwing it to Marshall, the title's ours easily. Black Hawks are winning titles, trophy looking massive. Don't forget about the Cubs, Sox, Crosstown Classic. With so much greatness, we gotta show bravado. You got your boys Ambro and Mike Mercado.
Hello and welcome to WICB Radio. This is Mike Mercado and you are on the Chicago Beat, either on Facebook, on Twitter, or on YouTube. If you want to follow the show, we're at mmercado2333. If you want to comment the show, you can find us at Facebook /MikeMercado2333 or on YouTube /MikeMercado2333.com. And it is a beautiful June 21st in the greatest city in the world, Chicago, Illinois, the second day of summer, and it couldn't be better. It was a little cloudy earlier in the afternoon and the morning, and later on into the evening we have some sunshine. And of course, the big news, the White Sox salvaged one game, Chicago Cubs, but the main focus on today's show is going to be on the NBA Finals. It's Game 5. Miami has a 3-1 lead over Oklahoma City. And everything comes down today. This is possibly the last game of the NBA season, and Miami Heat might fulfill the destiny of becoming NBA champions. Now, that could go either way. But before we get into that, we have to talk about the Cubs and White Sox, who are both off today, are going to start their series tomorrow. But the big thing I really wanted to get into are the standings, and that's for the White Sox. Because of course, I'm a Cub fan. We all know that, but I try to be as objective as I can be. And I got into one of my friends at Rerun at Facebook. You can follow him, has some interesting stuff always when it comes to the White Sox and his opinion on the Northsiders. But my big thing is the White Sox right now are a half game behind the Cleveland Indians. And 2.5 games ahead of, 2 games ahead of the Detroit Tigers. Now, why is this a big deal? We got into it when it comes to what really matters right now. He wants to, and it's not just him. A lot of White Sox fans have come at me at Twitter and on Facebook about, just wait, we haven't seen what this team could do yet. It's an up and down season. That's my problem. Is if you look at baseball, teams that are Jekyll and Hyde, who 1 month it's their hitting that's promising, then it's their pitching that's carrying them, and it never just kind of meshes together. It's a team that struggles in August, September, and let alone in October, when you're going to play half of the American League East, the Texas Rangers, possibly the Anaheim Angels. It's tough. And I don't want to say they're out of it because Cleveland doesn't scare anybody. Cleveland doesn't scare anybody in not only the American League, but in the National League. And nobody's afraid of Cleveland. Detroit's the only team who's the real wild card. You talk about a Jekyll and Hyde, and that's why over the last few days here on the Chicago Beat, on WICB Chicago, you could tell my opinion on Detroit's kind of diminishing a little bit, because if I'm saying this about the White Sox, I could say the same thing about the Detroit Tigers. And it'd be a valid point, because of all teams, who are they? We thought they were going to be this juggernaut offense with an unstoppable pitching rotation. Hasn't been that way. I mean, they're a game below 500. So there's a lot of interesting things to go on in this baseball season. I don't know if the White Sox are going to be buyers or sellers. I mean, do they have anything that people want? What do they need that's going to get them over the top? Even if they get something, is it going to be what's out there? I mean, the Cubs are the difference between the positions the Cubs are in is they're building for the future. So it's not immediate success. It's not based off of that. It's based off what value you're getting back for your players. For the White Sox, it's what impact can we make this year? And there hasn't been, from the front office to the fans, there hasn't been any indication that this is going to be a season where it's all in. You haven't heard that from anybody. They haven't said they're not, but they haven't put a definitive stamp on it. And that's my only precaution to any White Sox fan about this season, is it could go either way. You're on the Chicago Beat here on WICB Chicago.
You're listening to WICB with Mike Mercado.
A city that has diehards who know when their teams are bad and know when their teams are good. And yet every single day they go to the stadium.
And that's the Beat.
I hope everybody's having a beautiful Thursday, June 21st, in the beautiful city of Chicago, or wherever you are listening to the show. And it is time to go to the national spotlight of the NBA Finals Game 5 between the Miami Heat and the Oklahoma City Thunder in Miami tonight on ABC. And I think this is going to be a classic. All of them have been classic games already. If you watch the game, the stats, compared to what your eyes are showing, it's just been a series that you can't describe. You're seeing a lot of showcase talent. You're seeing moments where the stage might be too big for Oklahoma City, and just when they're out of it, they make a run. And that could be said for Miami. There's points where both teams have had double-digit leads, and all of a sudden, the other team storms back. If anything, this is really based off, this is a game of streaks. And I'm loving every single second of it. But it's an interesting spot right now. The series is far from over. I mean, Miami wins tonight. They hit coronated. They're at home. The big three, they did it. I mean, for whatever you want to say, they did it. But if Oklahoma City wins, then there's only 2 games left, and they're in OKC. And what if they win a game 6? Game 7, anything's up in the air. It's 48 minutes of basketball. As a purist, as much love as I have for this game, I want it to go 7 games. It has to. Whatever direction it goes, whether it goes to Miami's or if it goes to Oklahoma City, I would love to see this go 7 games, if all 7 games are the way they've been throughout the whole series. I think Miami is going to pull it out tonight. It's had that feeling all series long. After game 2, and it goes back to what I've been saying, the NBA has a way of working itself out. You have to lose before you can win. And that's how the NBA is. Even last year, people were saying, well, what about Dallas? They've never made it. Dallas has made it to the Finals 4 with Dirk Nowitzki. But it wasn't just him. Jason Kidd has never won a title before and lost in New Jersey when he was against the Lakers. Shawn Marion, for all intents and purposes, was a Phoenix Sun who could not get past the LA Lakers. Was denied his. Tyson Chandler, moving team from team, having a hype of being a top pick with the Chicago Bulls, got his ring. And you could continue to go on down the road of any team that's ever won a championship. Other than maybe San Antonio, they're the only ones who've never really had to triumph over a team, but they were kind of rivals with the Lakers at that point, going back and forth in the early 2000s, starting in 1999. So I think it has a lot of validity to it. If you say Oklahoma City loses tonight, but they could still win many titles down the road, I think that's more than possible. And as a Bulls fan, it scares me to see how good not only OKC is, but what Miami is doing in this series. And are the Bulls good enough right now to win the title? I don't know. As good as I think Derrick Rose is, right now, if they were healthy, the way Miami's playing right now, could they beat them in a 7-game series? I don't know. I like to think they can. And when you follow the show at mmercado2333 or on Facebook, you know I'm a diehard. I don't know if this team is better than Miami, though. I mean, Oklahoma City is struggling at the end of games against Miami. So it might just be that time. So Game 5, 8-10, ABC, should be crazy. We might finally have a show where we're saying LeBron James is a champion. Well, only on WICB Chicago and the Chicago Beat.
You're listening to WICB with Mike Mercado.
A city that has diehards who know when their teams are bad and know when their teams are good. And yet every single day they go to the stadium.
And that's the Beat.
Another gorgeous day here in the city of Chicago. Thank you so much for listening. I am Mike Mercado. It is Thursday, which means only one thing here on the Chicago Beat on WICB Chicago. It is time for Take 2 Thursdays. And our big thing on the Chicago Beat here on WICB is Derrick Rose has the #1 selling jersey in the United States and the #2 international jersey. So pretty cool from a guy who very humbly just puts his skills out on the court and does not do a not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7, or I'm taking my talent to South Beach, or as a flopper, or as a complainer. Hopefully this is the way the league is heading into. These types of superstars. You've seen it with Kevin Durant. You've seen it with Derrick Rose. Hopefully it continues with this. Guys like Tim Duncan who have multiple champions, all-time greatest players, and you never have to worry about controversy or being the focus of the most hated superstar in the world. And it's a lot easier to cheer for a guy like that, and it's easier for his jersey sales to go up. For everybody here at WICB and the Chicago Beats, I am Mike Mercado. Thank you so much for listening. Of course, I want to thank Secret Producer Man for making the show go by so smoothly. Of course, all the listeners, contributors, because without you guys, this is not possible. This is why I do it, and I love doing what I do. You've been on WICB and the Chicago Beat. Have a good night, everybody. Enjoy the games.